Hi, hello, hey, I'm Mary Renee. Welcome back to another episode of Diary of a Doom Scroller. We are so extra comfy cozy today. Wearing our jammies, bitch. We're talking about impact versus inspiration. So, starting with inspiration, inspiration is a noun, meaning that it is the effect, it is what is felt. And then we have impact, which is the actual verb or the affect, meaning that it is what actually has the movement, has the energy, and is going to transfer into something else. I think understanding that relationship is important because it is to really ask yourself, are you moving or are you being moved? What is the relationship that you're having? I do want to think about these dynamics through hobbies, communities, and friendships. So in my circles of self, I have two ways that I sort of think about getting to my core. Sometimes I like to think about who am I at the core and how does that move outward? And then sometimes I like to think about how does what is outside of me move within me? So regardless of if the energy is moving outward or inward, I do feel that your hobbies are going to be the number one way that you are going to be able to connect with both what impacts you and with what inspires you. I think hobbies specifically are a really unique and intimate way that you can get to know yourself, because not only is a hobby a process that you have to sit through, it is an end product that represents that entire process. And I think there's something very unique about that, because not only are you allowed to sit with and experience and control all of the different dynamics that get you there as individual steps, you're also able to then take a step back and look at the product as a whole. And then you're able to grade how you feel the process as a whole is serving you. Taking crochet as an example, I get to decide, how do I want to hold my hook? How do I want to play around with my tension? How do I want to sit? What do I want each crochet session to look like? And then at the same time, my yarn is also going to be there as an end product, and it's also going to react to my process independently of me in a way that allows me to see at the end of it all, if I have a crochet product that looks correct, then I can decide, yes, I think that process as a whole works for me. So when we're thinking about hobbies, it's like, well, what are the things that are actually impacting the quality of your hobbies? The amount of practice you're willing to give things, your approach, your attitude, your curiosity, your flexibility, your adaptability, all of those experiences, those words, those characteristics, all of those are going to have a direct impact on your outcome. They're going to determine how your steps of the process are going, and therefore how your outcome comes. Whereas things like inspiration, those are going to be like the patterns that you want to tackle on, the colors that make you feel, the Pinterest boards that create the aesthetics that give you something that you want to move forward on, right? And inspiration surely is a part of the creative process, don't get me wrong, but especially with influencer culture and aesthetics, when we're thinking about understanding that inspiration isn't a bad thing, but it's not what is actually moving you, it's important to understand, like, are you being moved by aesthetics because that's what's in? Are you being moved because the colors are speaking to you? Or are you being inspired? Are you being moved because everyone else is doing it? Because you want your work to lump you in with a group of people instead of wanting your work to mirror who you are and where you are in your process. It's important that we're understanding, even with our hobbies, as our hobbies tell the world who we are, not just through the product, but through our passion of the process that creates the product. I just think it's very, very important that we're questioning who is inspiring us? What are they inspiring us to make? And so if your hobby is supposed to represent you, let's go outward and hop from hobby, community to friendship, and then we'll come back inward. So, moving on from hobby to community from an outward relationship. When I was thinking about this, I was thinking from the sense of like, if my hobby represents who I am as a person, then my hobby should also be able to help me navigate my community. It should help me be able to walk out into my community with some type of confidence or self-understanding. When I'm thinking about these type of activities as a community member, it's things like meeting up to volunteer versus meeting up to catch up over dinner. Catching up with a friend or going out for a walk at the park versus catching up with a friend and walking around the mall. These types of activities, these types of spaces these types of environments are going, why did I say it like that? Environments, I don't know. These types of environments are going to take my energy differently. A walk in the park is hopefully going to show me all the different energy that lives around me through the plants, through the animals, through other people. Hopefully, I'm going to go in a space where I can feel the collective energy. That's the impact, that's the resonance. Whereas if I'm walking around at the mall, the only energy transfer there is going to be every single store, shop, cafe, whatever is trying to take my energy. If the environment is set up to be a particular way, people who want to interact with those particular environments are going to be there. If you met your bestie at Louis Vuitton and then you decided that you wanted to go down some thrifting, clothing, deconstruction journey, but your bestie didn't, well, you might not want to be shocked, right? Because you met them at a very specific environment in a very specific place. And so you might not be able to seek the type of friendships and move through the environment to be appropriately inspired and impacted by the other people who are there. When we're thinking about how do our friends impact us, how do our friends inspire us, the inspiration really comes down to the peer pressure. What types of things do you know your friends want to do with you? That could be doing certain activities, having certain conversations, being in certain places. You know exactly what those certain social dynamic expectations are, and those are what inspires the friendship. If you have a friend that you met and you only talk shit with them, and you notice that they are not as interested in talking to you when you have good news, but if you have bad news or kiki or drama, they perk up and they want to hear. Well, I think it's important to understand that the environment that you are creating within the friendship is always going to be what inspires the impact. And I think when we're thinking about how do your friends impact you, what are the kind of things that your friends make you do? And for myself, I'm going to be honest, I ended a lot of friendships once I started to notice I didn't feel like I had a lot of impact in my friendship. I felt like sometimes I said really cool things or I would share really cool parts of me, and I would always hope that maybe it would inspire my friends. But something that I've come to notice in myself with my own personality, I don't really care about inspiring people. I want to impact the world. I want to move the world. I want to force you to walk with me if you are going to walk by my side. I don't want to be in the room where people look up to me. I want to be in the room where we look across from one another and we're on the exact same level and we move together, because the things that we talk about are so good. It's like, bro, we gotta just stop talking about it. We gotta go do this. It's gonna be so fucking good. Why are we even wasting our time talking about it when we could literally be in the process doing it? And so when I'm thinking about like what is the difference between the impact and the inspiration as I move out into the world, it really is the hobbies that I have, the projects that I am working on, the goals that I have for myself. They move me and they steer my direction at the fork in the road. And depending on which way I decide to turn at the fork, that is going to lay in front of me the passerbys I may or may not walk next to on that particular journey and that particular direction. And really, I think about it the same from coming on the in. I think that the community that you put yourself in, the influencers that you follow, the pool of people that you look to, that is going to be the constraints, the container of the type of friendships, people, relationships, acquaintances, besties, whatever the fuck you're looking for. That community is the container in which decides what type of people you are going to get. That being said, I have been thinking about elementary school quite a bit this week, and one of the things that came up was show and tell. During birthdays, one of the traditions that we would have to do is go up to the front of the room and sit in the hot seat, and everyone in class would be able to ask you questions about yourself. Now, this is where I really started to learn that I was just like that cartoon girl, Daria, in the sense of I literally never had anyone ask questions about me. No one gave a fuck. But upon walking up to the hot seat, I always knew like no one is going to ask me any questions. Nobody gives a fuck. I don't really want to share any answers either, but like, why are we even doing this? So, in the name of I deserve my time in the hot seat, like what, 20 fucking years later, I want to share some doodles and drawings from my notebook from 2025, and I think I even started one this year. So one of my favorite things to do is just draw like random little people. I don't know who any of them are. I just love drawing them. He is one of my faves. His name is Dwayne. And then like she's one of my faves. Some other faces. I drew this person with my right hand because I'm left-handed. She has to be boots down, hands down, everything down. Literally my favorite person that I've ever fucking drawn. The sass, the shade, the attitude, the face, the vibe. I love everything about her. Everything. Like literally, I love her. And then other things that I really love to draw are like nature scenes. So this was my take on like looking at a reflection pond. My Coraline, which isn't nature, but still, she's so cute. Nature. I literally will never stop making a corner sun. That literally is my life. I also made this one. I did this one as like a self-instructed art therapy activity. I was very, very angry one day. And so I drew a bridge to represent like all of the problems that I felt like I needed to cross over and I couldn't. So I just started with the bridge, and then from there I just decided to make it into a little scene. Just a little house. I just love drawing shit like that. Just random stuff. It just makes me happy, and I love listening to music when I draw, or just like pondering, just vibing. I like drawing little vessels, little mugs, little cups. I have a few cups. Let's see, where are my other cups? Here we go. I drew this for last Halloween. I think I'm so funny. Sometimes I just really like to play around with color. I just love to draw, you guys. I just be drawing. I love looking back on my stuff, because like even if I don't get it, I'm like, that's cool. It's just cool to see that you could just like keep flipping. Oh, I guess I just did it upside down. This was my most recent one. I drew curtains. They're supposed to actually be the curtains right behind me. No, I am not colorblind. I know that those curtains are white. I was inspired by the curtains. That's what I drew. So yeah, that's some of my favorite artwork. That's what I wanted to show and tell. You know, one of the things that I've really been thinking about with friendships and being autistic and has been honestly the struggle that I'm at right now is being comfortable constantly coming to my friends and like letting them know who I am, and not just sitting in the corner and only reaching out to my friends when I feel inspired, or only reaching out to my friends when I know exactly what they'll want to talk to me about or exactly what they want to hear. Learning how to set my own impact, learning how to be my own person who doesn't just move because others moved, but actually moved and started the movement. That's hard. It has been hard because Impact is within. Impact is invisible. Visibility is inspiration. And without being inspired, sometimes we wouldn't know what to do. We wouldn't know where to go, right? And I see inspiration through everything. But when I'm trying to be impactful, especially with my friends, and I constantly need this reminder. So hopefully, if you do, like, you stuck around to the end to hear it. In order to move your friends, in order to be the impact, unfortunately, you will have to be there to create movement when no one is. And you will have to trust that who you are is just good enough, meaningful enough, and important enough, and inspiring enough to be what moves your friends, even though it feels confusing and uncertain, and as though I'm the last person who should be deciding what we are all doing as people, because I feel like I don't understand people at all. I think this is a good stopping place. If you made it this far, thank you so much, baddie. Go ahead and leave me a cowboy emoji to spread the energy, spread the word, or give me a good little show and tell about yourself. Let me know what your favorite hobby is, what it has taught you about yourself, and how your hobby allows you to move differently in your community or within your friendships, and what it does for them. And while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe, because it helps me out when you do the YouTube things, and we will run up that screen time in the next one.